Hey guys, it's official. I have Legos on the brain. Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. Tonight I wanted to give you just a quick sneak peek into kind of the inner workings of how I've been doing these Lego sets. This isn't really much of a sales update. It's kind of just to show you the process behind the scenes and what I've been doing for each of the sets. As I begin to work through the easier ones, the ones that were all complete, known ahead of time, I'm kind of getting into some really difficult and tedious work. So let me kind of show you what I'm up against. Well, here you can see the set that I'm working on now. This is, of course, Hogwarts Castle, set 4842 with 1,290 pieces. Yeah, this is kind of what I've been dealing with today. And this is kind of the culmination of a number of hours worth of work. I had a couple of bags that were labeled as having Harry Potter pieces and potentially being a part of this set. However, I wasn't entirely sure what I was up against, so what I decided to do was kind of dig through all these bags and get the little mini pieces out first, the minifigs and all the different accessories, and I kind of matched those up against the box. And so I definitely have all of the minifigures, which is good. But the problem is I'm not sure if I have all the bricks. So I spent a good portion of the day sorting all of the different Harry Potter labeled bags into their respective colors. So obviously we have some tan bricks, some brown, some dark gray, light gray, dark tan, some green, black. Like I said, all the miscellaneous little pieces over here. Where else? And of course I have the instruction manual. So my next step is to go through this whole manual and match up all of my pieces with all of the pieces shown in the manual. And as you can tell, the previous owner went through and did that partially. But I don't know if what I have here is complete or not. So my thought was, and like I said, this is what I've been doing with every other set so far, is, for instance, if I'm missing a dark tan piece, I'll drop over here to my bags of pre-sorted by color pieces and kind of look through there and see if I can find what I'm looking for. I have my other pieces down here. This is a box of like miscellaneous kind of random pieces to give you an idea. Just bags of pieces that, you know I'm going to need at some point, but they're so unique that they don't really classify as bricks. And here I kind of have all of my like transparent colored ones and so on and so forth. And this bag was used. This is an entire bag of nothing but minifigs. So we have some like hats and body pieces and heads, and they're all kind of separated in there, which is nice. But as you can see, there's a lot of work to be done here with this particular set. This is probably the largest one that I've started, and you know, at almost 1,300 pieces, it's going to take quite a while to at least go through all of the pieces here in the manual and search around and see what I can find. So I already know that these here, I have 3 or 4 of them, and I only need 2, so there are obviously more than one Harry Potter set is listed here or is represented here. So it's up to me to call out what I need and put away what I don't. And after this, after I find that I have all of the pieces, I have to assemble it. And I will do that. And of course, I'll photograph it. I'll photograph it with the box, with all the minifigures. And then once it's assembled and photographed, I'll then disassemble everything, put it into a bag, and list it. And so that's kind of the process here. And each of the sets that I've been doing thus far has been this exact same thing. I don't know if they're complete at this point, so it's a matter of just pulling all the pieces that I know that I can find that are similar and matching those against whatever is listed here in the manual, and then pulling from my reserve sets or my reserve pieces when I'm in need of something. And if all else fails, I will, of course, order pieces online. So hopefully it won't come to that, but hopefully that gives you an idea of what I've been up against. So it's kind of tedious. It's a lot of work, a lot of little tiny pieces. But again, that backdrop that I use, this is where I photograph all my eBay listings. That backdrop really helps to make everything nice and bright. So I have my photo lights here. It's really kind of a nice area to work in. So it's a kind of a nice setup. So anyway, just wanted to kind of give you that little glimpse as to my workings with these. So hope you enjoyed that. Talk to you soon. And just like that, through the magic of editing, I've time warped ahead a few weeks, and sure enough, we have the final product here. And it did take a few weeks to get some of the replacement pieces that I needed. I was missing only a few in the end, which wasn't too bad. But one of the things that I found out, and this wasn't unique to this set, but I did find out that, you know, some of these colors, and this is actually a known issue, some of these colors are actually pretty brittle. And this was a known issue from Lego back in sets that were made in the 2010s, that some of the browns and the dark reds, they became really brittle. I guess they used some sort of different color dye or something, and it slipped through the cracks. And yeah, I guess it's a big deal in Lego circles. And I actually found out anecdotally that this was an issue because not only myself, but my daughter, we kept breaking pieces and we couldn't figure out why. And they always happened to be brown ones. And so these are the replacement ones that I bought. And of course, a lot of them are brown. So let me show you what the issue is. And actually it happened to this green one here too, but they just get brittle over time and they break. So as soon as you try to put them on, you know, you snap a piece off. And so I bought a replacement one of those. And of course, these brown ones are really notorious. You can see that the post in there where it connects has just snapped right off. And so I ended up buying a replacement hat. I'm not even going to attach it. I'm just going to include it. So that's nice and neat. And of course, I have a couple of those cones, some of the window sills. Again, the window sills that are in this area here, those are extraordinarily brittle. And actually, these two are from some Lego Minecraft ones that my daughter are putting together that she ended up breaking and needed replacements for. But the good news is that I do have a completed build, and so I'll be able to photograph this and list it. I have not had a chance to do that yet. I was actually waiting for this reveal for this video before I listed it because, of course, as you found out from the last little segment, after I photograph all of this, I do go through and disassemble it, make sure that I don't break any more pieces. And I will go through and put every piece here against what I have in the manual one more time before I put it in the bag, just to make sure that I do have a 100% complete set. So, but that is kind of the run through of a build from scratch, kind of looking through all the different pieces, trying to get what I need and ultimately get a final build here. So this one, because I knew it wasn't complete, did take a little bit longer than normal. This one took a probably 3-week time period, which, you know, it's a long time. And some people would probably just sell it as is, and that's fine. But I kind of have taken a lot of pride in this work and really wanted to provide a really solid product to someone, especially if they're looking for, you know, if they're a collector who maybe didn't want an incomplete set, then I can, you know, justify at least charging top dollar when I go to list this. So hopefully that was pretty interesting, and you may have learned something about the Lego building process. And so I guess now let's jump into some what solds. So before we get into the what solds, I wanted to take a quick story break and relay a fun story about what had happened recently at a garage sale. So it is January, and we still have a ton of stuff left over that's unlisted yet from that big buy that we did back in November. But we wanted to go out and do some sourcing. We haven't really done that lately. We haven't needed to, which was nice, but we wanted to get out there and see what we could find. Now, it does get cold here in North Texas, believe it or not, it does get cold. And this was after a day where it was extraordinarily cold. In fact, it was below freezing. And so the next day was actually not too bad. It was still pretty chilly, but it was extraordinarily windy. So I wasn't sure how many sales were going to be available. Now, I use the yard sale treasure map app to find which sales are going to be available in my town. And invariably, the only people that seem to use this app are the people in the town next to us. So we head over there because there were 2 sales listed on the map. Well, I take that back. There were 3, but one was an estate sale that I had gone to the previous day, so that really didn't count. So I knew that we had at least 2 sales to go to. So we pull up to the first one, and of course, Jess decides to stay in the car because it's freezing out. And I brave across the street, and I'm walking, try to, lean into the wind because it is, again, very windy. And walking around doing kind of my normal scanning of the lay of the land to try to see what they have. And I noticed that they have this box and it has some toys in it. So I'm leafing through the box, not noticing, anything around me. And I sure enough see these 4-gallon size bags, each that has Legos in them. I said, well, that's pretty good fortune, I guess. I seem to be doing well with Legos. Let me check these out. And so I'm looking at them, I'm pulling them out, and none of the Lego bricks themselves looked all that spectacular to me. I saw maybe a few minifigures, but what really caught my eye were these big, they were about, I don't know, that size or so, Lego base plates that you can build on top of. And each of the 4 bags had 1 base plate in there. And each of the bags were marked $4. So I was looking at potentially a $16 buy if I were to buy all that stuff. And I'm kind of contemplating it and kind of judging what I'm seeing here. And, that's kind of a steep buy just for the amount of Legos that I have in front of me. And as I'm putting them down back in the box, the lady running the sale comes up to me and she says, hey, if you're interested in those Legos, I'll just give them to you for half price. You can have them for $8. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. I figured at the very least, I could sell the base plates, make some of my money back. There were a few minifigures in there. Sometimes those can go for a lot, depending on what set they came from. But I figured, what the heck, I'm out and about. Let's just go ahead and do this. So I said that I'd continue to look around just to see if I found anything else, which I did not. But I went and got the Legos, paid the lady, and then I went back in the car and didn't give it a second thought. We went to the second garage sale and I didn't find anything, so we decided to head home, thinking that it was kind of a bust for the day. So fast forward a little bit, we had lunch. I decided to work on the Legos, or at least look to see what I had, and I decided to do a Google image search of one of the minifigures because it looked like it was almost, I won't say Western, but it looked like he was in like a U.S. kind of cavalry outfit. He was blue, and I'll put up a picture of what he looked like here on the screen. And that, I've never seen one of those before, and at least it wasn't fresh in my mind what that set could have been from. So I did a Google image search, and it came back with some Lego Western series that had come out way back in the late 90s. And so doing some more research and looking at the bricks that I had, I matched this one up with a set called Fort Lego Rado, which actually came out in 1996. So what I was looking at was a vintage set of Legos. Now, I didn't know at this point if it was complete. There was no manual, there was no box, it was just a bunch of loose pieces and some minifigures. So I did like I always did. I separated all the bricks. And because I determined ahead of time what set it was, I actually found the build instructions online. I think Lego still prints all of their build instructions in PDF form, which you can download from their site. I don't know if I got it directly from Lego or if it was from a different site, but nonetheless, I pulled it up on my phone and I started going through and putting the pieces together just to see if I had a complete set. Well, as time went on, I determined that I had the majority of this set. It was actually pretty cool. So each of these base plates turned out to be a different build from this fort. I'm going to put up some pictures here just so you can see what I'm talking about. But as you can see, that this was kind of a cool Old West theme. It was, again, called Fort Lego Rado. I ended up having only about 4 of the 10 included minifigures. And of the 4 that I had, it looked like they were kind of bits and pieces of some of the other people there. So they weren't full, complete minifigures, but they were kind of, had the head of one and a body of another. But it was enough that it would, lend credence to this set. So I estimated that I had about maybe 90 to 95% of the build complete, not including the accessories. So there was a horse cart that I didn't actually end up having any of the pieces of, and there was like a cannon and something else. But the build itself, probably, like I said, had about 95% of the bricks. So I put it all together, and the hardest thing I think was to kind of develop a price. Because again, it's a vintage set. You don't find these in the wild all that often. And it was still in really good shape. So I ended up listing it pretty high, but I'm not going to tell you what it sold for because it did sell already. I'm going to wait to reveal that in the what solds because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So like I said before, I think I have Legos on the brain. Not only have I been going through this entirely huge build of Legos from Lego Minecraft and Lego Harry Potter and Lego Star Wars, but I just happened to randomly, it seems, find this vintage Lego set out in the wild. So you never know when these things are going to pop up, and I guess it always pays to keep an eye out and look. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for more Legos because, as you will see here in just a little bit, this turned out to be a great find. So without further ado, I think it's time to start going through the what solds. Now, unlike other videos, what I'm going to do is actually cheat just a little bit. So my problem with all of these videos so far was that I would relay what solds from a time that was like months ago. And so it wouldn't really keep up to the current time frame. And I've always been trying to catch up. And so I'm going to do a cheat. I am actually going to be doing a top 25 sales over the last roughly 4 months, which is going to get me exactly where I need to be with the what solds and my video release schedule. So top 25 sales from eBay and a top 5 in both Mercari and Poshmark. And because Poshmark has been the least productive as of late, I'm going to start with Poshmark. So let's start there. Again, the top 5 sales roughly over the last couple of months. And as you'll see, these are less than stellar, but we'll go through them anyway. Okay, so again, because it's a top list, we're going to go in reverse order. So this is number 5 from Poshmark. This was a vintage 2002 Fisher-Price Little People, A Christmas Story nativity set. It was complete with the 11 figures and a box, and it sold for $20 plus shipping. Now, this actually wasn't any sort of garage sale find. This was actually on top of our bookshelf, and it had been there for probably a decade. We got this when our kids were little, and we wanted to put out a nativity set that they couldn't necessarily break. I think it was only displayed for a few weeks one year, and it's sat up there ever since. And so as we were doing some tidying up, looking for other things to sell around the house, we found this and decided to give it a go, and it sold on Poshmark. So moving on, number 4 was this 2015 Waffle House Christmas themed mug called Winter Waffle Land. It was a really nice looking heavy duty quality Tuxton mug. If you ever find these Waffle House mugs, definitely pick them up. This is not the only Waffle House mug that I've sold. I've sold quite a few of them. This one ended up also selling for $20 plus shipping. Number 3 on our top 5 was this Eddie Bauer women's size large beige wool blend with gold metallic threads full zip sweater. And it sold for $20 plus shipping. All right, number 2 on our top 5 list from Poshmark was this Lego set. This was Lego Star Wars, number 75099, Ray's Speeder. It was a 100% complete set with minifigs, box, and manual. And it sold for $20 plus shipping. I think you see a theme here. And finally, the number 1 sale from Poshmark over the last little while, I'd say a couple month period, was this, again, a Lego Star Wars. It was the 75081 set, the T16 Skyhopper, complete with 2 minifigs, manual, box, and Womp Rat. It sold for $43 plus shipping. Now, incidentally, these last 2 sales, the Lego Star Wars T16 Skyhopper and Ray's Speeder, ended up selling to the same person, but we were kind of haggling and doing a best offer. She ended up buying both, but buying them separately. So ended up paying separate shipping for each order. And now moving over to Mercari, we will again do the top 5 sales from Mercari. And starting off, number 5, we have this lot of 21 Beverly Lewis Christian fiction trade paperbacks. There were 5 complete series in the lot, and they ended up selling for $65, free shipping. And moving on, number 4 in the top 5 sales of Mercari was this pair of Ariat Fat Baby women's size 8B brown ostrich blue leather upper cowboy boots. And these sold for $65 plus shipping. So moving on, number 3 out of 5 on Mercari. This was a Squishmallows. He was from 2022, new with tag. His name was Kobe. He was a corn on the cob. He was an 18-inch figure, hard to find, pretty rare, and he sold for $80 plus shipping. Number 2 on the list, we have this set of Golden Bear M86 ladies club set. Featured flex graphite shafts. It had 5 through sand wedge and a putter. Sold it for $85, free shipping. Now, I was actually happy to get that price because this was part of a larger buy that I did at a local thrift store. I bought not only this set, but a set of woods that went with this iron set, and also a really nice golf bag. And I talked the guy down to $40 for everything. And I ended up selling the golf bag itself for about $100 by itself. And so I knew that I had already made my money back. And so I was happy to sell these irons for the $85 free ship. And the number 1 sale of Mercari over this last time period was actually a bundle of 2 different things. These were both from the Lego Bionicle series, which are kind of unique creatures. And this was Kopaka, Master of Ice, and Gali, Master of Water. And together they sold for $131 plus shipping. Yeah, these Lego Bionicle things are kind of cool. They're not your traditional Lego brick type sets. They're more creature based, and they have different pieces, which makes them a little bit more articulated. So you can kind of move them and pose them into pieces, and you can, I'll put up some different pictures so that you can kind of see what they look like here. But they're kind of cool. So we saved the best for last. We'll move on to our eBay store, and here we'll do the top 25 sales over the last 4 months. Now, some of these you have seen in a previous video. They were in our Lego update, and so I will still go through them at this point because they are in the top 25. So without further ado, let's jump in. So starting with number 25, this was a men's Wolverine size XL, full body insulated quilted outdoor winter work suit. And this one sold for $59.99 plus shipping. Number 24 was this 16-piece Reed and Barton Regent's Park glossy stainless flatware set. This ended up selling for $59.99 plus shipping. I was trying to remember where I picked this set up. I believe it was a Goodwill. I could be mistaken. It could have been in a larger lot of other flatware from a garage sale. Either way, it was purchased with a lot of other pieces. What made this one cool was that these were all brand new. They were still in their plastic sleeves. So it was a great sale, $59.99. Moving on, number 23, this was a Lego Chima set. This was number 70132. It was called Scorm's Scorpion Stinger. Again, it was a 100% complete set with Figs manual and box, and it sold for $59.99 plus shipping. Moving on, number 22 was another Lego set. This was number 75112. It was a General Grievous buildable figure. Again, it was 100% complete with manual and box, and he ended up selling for $64.99 plus shipping. Just a little aside about this one, these pieces that actually made General Grievous were very similar to the Lego Bionicle, and so they weren't standard brick pieces, but they were more kind of armor plates and kind of balls and sockets and things like that. So again, it makes it really articulated for a lot of easier movement, but you can actually build some really realistic things with these pieces. Moving on, number 21, this was a recent sale. So this was a lot of 6 Transformers Optimus Prime figures from the War for Cybertron Kingdom series. Altogether, they sold for $66, free shipping. Number 20 was another Star Wars set. This was number 9498. Sacy Tins Jedi Starfighter. I'm going to have a lot of Star Wars fans mad at me for mispronouncing that. Regardless, it was 100% complete, again with box, figures, and manual, and it sold for $69.99 plus shipping. Number 19 was a Lego Bionicle. This was set number 71309, called Onua, Uniter of Earth. Again, 100% complete with manual, but this time it did not have a box. This one sold for $69.99 plus shipping. Number 18, another Lego set. This was Lego Hero Factory, number 44021, Splitter Beast versus Furno and Evo. Another set which was 100% complete with manual. This ended up selling for $69.99 plus shipping. Moving on to number 17. Can you guess what it is? Yes, another Lego set. This was Lego Bionicle number 71310, Umarak the Hunter. 100% complete with mask, weapons, and manual. No box. Sold for $74.99 plus shipping. Number 16 was not a Lego set. This was a pair of Doc Martens boots, size 6, cherry red, smooth leather combat boots. Sold these for $74.99 plus shipping. I ended up bundling these with another pair of shoes at a garage sale. I paid up a little bit for these, but obviously the price in the end was well worth it. Moving on in the list, we are at number 15. This was actually a consignment sale from our friend Larry. This was a set of 6 Lorion 1880 Pearpoint Manufacturing Company antique silver plate oval soup spoons, which ended up selling for $74.99 plus shipping. This sale was actually a shot in the dark because I couldn't really find a whole lot about this pattern. It didn't seem to be all that common. And from what I could gather, that these were in fact 19th century pieces. So they were definitely in the 1800s. I hope that I'm right in saying that. I know that sometimes the year that's listed in the name isn't always when they were from, but in doing my research, I did see that they were manufactured at least in the late 1800s. So it was definitely a good sale for sure. Moving on to number 14. This was another Lego set, believe it or not. This was Lego Minecraft number 21125, The Jungle Treehouse. This was a 100% complete set with figures, manual, and box, and it sold for $74.99 plus shipping. Number 13 in the list of top 25 was this Kufel and Esser Desalon 10 slide rule with leather case. Sold this guy for $79.99 plus shipping. So the backstory with this item is that on Fridays, I typically teach an intro to weather class at the junior high level for the local homeschool co-op that my kids attend. And so after the first period class, which is what I teach, I rush home and I try to hit as many sales as I can before I have to go pick up the girls. So this sale was right down the street from my house, and I ended up going there before I even got home. And was looking around and I noticed that they had a slide rule, and I asked how much it was. $5. And so I said, cool, but I don't have any money, so I got to go run to the bank. So they were kind enough to hold the item for me, ran to the bank, got some money, went back to the sale, paid for it, and of course the rest is history. So definitely keep an eye out for vintage slide rules. In fact, I don't think there is such thing as a modern slide rule. Maybe there is, but these older ones can definitely be worth a lot of money. Moving on to number 12, another Lego set. This was number 75172, a Y-Wing Starfighter, 100% complete with 5 minifigs, manual and box, sold for $89.99 plus shipping. Number 11 was another Lego set, Lego Bionicle, number 71308, Tahu, Uniter of Fire. 100% complete with extra mask and instructions, no box. Sold for $89.99 plus shipping. So we've reached the top 10 sales from eBay over the last 4 months. So kicking off number 10, you might have guessed it, a Lego set. This Lego set was number 75102, Pose X-Wing, complete with figures, manual, and box. Sold for $89.99 plus shipping. Number 9 was this pair of large pewter figurines by artist Michael Ricker. This was from the Santaville set. It was a train engine with coal car and a separate water tower. And together these sold for $99.99 plus shipping. Number 8 was another Lego set. This was a Lego Bionicle, number 70795, Mask Maker versus Skull Grinder. 100% complete with manual and box. Sold for $99.99 plus shipping. Number 7 was a lot of 9 Star Wars audiobooks on CD. Varying series, over 95 hours of audio. These ended up selling for $99.99 plus shipping. So the hardest thing about this listing was actually doing all of the testing. I tested each CD and I went through each of the chapters to make sure that there weren't any skips, that it played properly as it should. And so that took the most time for sure. But definitely a good investment in time because this was a good sale. Number 6 was another Lego set. This was a Lego Minecraft set, number 21124, the End Portal. Again, this was 100% complete with minifigs, manuals, and box. And it sold for $99.99 plus shipping. Now we've reached the top 5, and I bet you can't guess what number 5 is. Okay, I guess you can. It's a Lego set. Number 5, Lego set number 9494, Anakin's Jedi Interceptor, 100% complete with figs, manual, and box. This one sold for a whopping $124.99 plus shipping. Number 4 was actually a surprise. This was the vintage Lego set that I just talked about. This was called Fort Lego Rado. It was set number 6769. Again, it was an incomplete set. The buildings were mostly complete, but no accessories and only a few of the minifigures. Ended up selling for $149.99 plus shipping. Talk about a great sale. This was an $8 pickup, which I turned into $150. So definitely I will be keeping my eyes out for Legos, and I'm going to have Legos on the brain from here on out for sure. So we've reached the top 3 sales from eBay over the last 4 months. Number 3 was a Star Wars set, Lego Star Wars. Number 9515, it was the Malevolence. We've seen this one before. 100% complete with all figures, manual, and box. Sold for $259.99 plus shipping. Number 2 is no surprise as well. This was actually featured in the last video. This was the Lego Sandcrawler from Star Wars, of course, number 75220. It was a brand new in-box sealed set. It went for $269.99 plus shipping. And again, knowing now what I know about Legos and seeing how many brown pieces this thing contains, I would not want to put this one together. I think probably half the brown pieces would be brittle and probably break. So this is best left sealed in the box. And now the number 1 sale of eBay over the last 4 months was, drum roll please, yes, not a Lego. It was actually this King Flair Silver 2055S trumpet with case and mouthpiece. This was one of the trumpets that I had picked up from the garage sale for $50, along with another one. I had this one professionally cleaned and serviced, and it sold for $799.99 plus shipping. Well, guys, that's about all that I had for today's video. I know that was a longer one, and I appreciate you sticking around all the way to the end. If you like this kind of content, if you wouldn't mind liking the video and maybe consider subscribing to the channel, that would be great. Thanks so much for sticking around again, and I will see you on the next one.